Hello, good evening everyone. This is Shambhavi, your physics master teacher. Welcome to Vedantu, Karnataka. Hope I'm audible and my video is clear to you. Good evening everyone. If you are there, please respond in the chat box if audio and video is clear. Let me also check. Hope it is fine. Good evening. So, in today's session, as already I have told you in the previous session, that we will be discussing 5-mark questions. And more or less, I can say today's session is more inclined towards solving numerical problems. Okay. So, our job is to learn some numerical problems with respect to motion in a straight line chapter. Also, there is one 5-mark derivation which is possible from this chapter, which can be asked in your upcoming test. Hope your preparation is going good. Hope you're done with revising units and dimension and also motion in a straight line already. And I hope you have done with solving the 2 marks and 3 mark questions from those two chapters. Hope it is done. If not, please refer to the previous video sessions and you can do a quick revision. Okay. Okay. So I think we can start our today's session. So here is our first question for the day. Derive the expression x is equals to ut plus half at square using velocity time graph. So equation alli ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, we had to derive x is equals to ut plus half at square by graphical method. Okay, so what we are supposed to do, we had to derive by graphical method. Okay, so as it is a graph based, our first job should be drawing the corresponding VT graph and defining the variables which we'll be choosing, and then we can go ahead for the actual derivation part. Okay, so while you're drawing the graph, axis should be labeled properly or else there's a possibility that you're going to lose the marks. Okay, so in all physics graphs, it is essential to label the graph. If there is a question which is asked in 2 mark to draw a velocity time or position time graph, if you don't label the axis, they may give you 0. Okay, though it is a 2 mark question, your nature of the graph might be right, but if you don't label the axis, okay, what is there on x-axis, which quantity is there on y-axis, so you're going to lose the entire marks. Okay, so learn all these basics which are very essential. Okay, so first we'll try to draw a velocity time graph. Okay, so let me say on y-axis we have velocity and on x-axis we'll have time. Okay, so y-axis velocity is there. Okay, and let us assume initial velocity as u. So there's those are all the the usual notations which we are choosing. So initial velocity, I'm taking it as u. Okay, and after some time t, final velocity, let us say the particle is reaching a final velocity as v. Okay, final velocity I'm taking as v. Okay, in the time interval of t, 0 to t seconds I can say. Okay, and the particle is uniformly accelerated with an acceleration a. So this is our usual assumptions in this kinematic equation derivation. Okay, so here they can ask only one, I mean this derivation ut plus half at square, or they can combine with one more kinematic equation like v is equals to u plus at, or v square is equals to u square plus 2as. So they can ask in any way, like for 5 marks any two can be asked. Okay, or sometimes they will just ask you to derive the kinematic equations of one dimensional motion. They just say like that, and using VT graph they may mention. If they mention, you had to do by graphical method and you have to derive all the three equations. If they say by calculus method, you have to derive by calculus method, which we have learnt in our previous session. Okay, so they can split in any way. They can frame a 5 mark question or 3 mark question. They can ask you in a graphical method or a calculus method. So please read the question carefully and attempt. Okay, so let us say this is initial velocity, okay, u. So from here uniformly accelerated motion, so that we are going to have a straight line graph. Okay, so what we are going to have, we'll have a straight line graph with slope being equal to acceleration, and let me say this point corresponds to the time t. Okay, and at that time the corresponding velocity what we have chosen, so that is our v, right? So we had chosen that as v. So here we have v. Okay, so this is our initial velocity u, this is our final velocity v. Okay, so let me just label the points as we did in the last session. The same way for the other derivation we used this method. So I call this point as a, this point as b, and this point as c, and I can also mark a corresponding point here as d, such that the distance between b to d, or the length of this bd, will be equal to v minus u. That will be giving us v minus u, because yeah, this is our origin, we had to label that as well. So from here to here it is v, from here to here it is u. So the distance from this point to this point will be v minus u. The same I'm writing here. Okay, so this should be the graph which you are supposed to draw first. Okay, so hope you are following. Let me just check once. If any doubts, please feel free to ask the doubts. Yes, Vidvat, hello. Yes, Chetan. Yes, Rakshita, hello. Hope you all are following the session. And I think you joined from the beginning as well. So our goal for today is to take up all the 5 mark questions, specifically this derivation, and then followed by few numericals. Okay, so that's our goal for today. Hope you are all following. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Yeah, and any doubts, please feel free to ask in the chat box. So I'll be constantly looking in the chat box. Okay, good evening everyone who is present there. Okay, so we'll go ahead with our usual notation as initial velocity u, final velocity v, and time t, the acceleration a. So first what we will do, so it may be x is equals to ut plus half at square derivation, or v square is equals to u square plus 2as derivation. So deriving v is equals to u plus at will be our first job. Okay, how we do, there are two ways you can say. One is, as this is an uniformly accelerated motion, so the average acceleration will be equal to the given uniform acceleration, as the acceleration is constant throughout, correct? So acceleration starting in the final tanka constant irodrinda, average acceleration itself will be equal to the normal acceleration a ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So average acceleration ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರಿತೀವಿ, change in velocity to the corresponding time interval ಅಂತ ಬರಿತೀವಿ. That is like v minus u by t minus 0 ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬಹುದು, correct? So this is one way. or other way which I have shown to you in the last class, that is like acceleration is nothing but slope. ಇಲ್ಲಿ slope ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, slope will be equal to opposite side by, no, opposite side is this BD, adjacent side is this AD, if I take this as theta, correct? So in the right angle triangle, no, slope we are finding out here, the slope of the line AB in other words, okay? So that is like opposite by adjacent kind of a thing, which is like BD by AD. So this is also going to give you V minus U by T, okay? So we are getting the same thing, but you should understand what we are writing here. Either it is an average acceleration definition I am using, or from the slope of velocity time graph is always going to give me acceleration. That is the very basic application of your VT graph, okay? So from here what we get, acceleration A is equals to V minus U by T, because T minus 0 is T itself, or from here I can write, so V minus U is equals to A into T, or from this we get V is equals to U plus AT, okay? So this is our first equation of motion. Anyway, here they have not asked you to derive this, but this equation we need it, okay? So this V minus U is equals to A into T is there, no? I'll call this as equation 1, okay? I will be using this in the upcoming step. Hope it is visible to you if I write here. Hope till here it is visible, okay? So next what we will do, so we are supposed to get an expression for X, that is displacement, right? So from VT graph, how do we get displacement? It is very simple, that we should find out the area under the graph. So that should come to your mind, okay? So we have been asked to find out the displacement, which is nothing but the area under VT graph. So without second thought, what we will write? So the required displacement, okay, displacement X is equals to area under VT graph, okay? So our job is now to find out the area under VT graph. So from where to where we will find out? Over the required time interval. Here it is from 0 to T, okay? So what we will do, area under VT graph, if we just observe here, we can say, I can, under the line AB, this is our VT curve. So below this line, how much area is there? So I can say there is this triangle area, and then I can say there is this rectangle area, correct? So if I just divide the total area, I can divide it into a triangle area plus the rectangle area. So now my job is to find out the total area. So that is like area of the triangle, okay? Area of triangle, what is the triangle there? ADC, plus area of rectangle OADC, okay? So what we are trying to find out, the area of the triangle ADB, that is, okay? So what is it? Area of the triangle ADB, okay? So the triangle is here, A, D and B, okay? Area of the triangle ADB and the area of the rectangle OA and D to C, okay? OADC, okay? There is some fluctuation in this, just a second, okay? So I think it will work now. So this total area we are supposed to find out. So now if I just consider the area of the triangle, how can I write? Half into base into height. So here base is this AD, into height or perpendicular is this BD, correct? Plus area of the rectangle is like length into breadth, that is like AD into dc, I can say. Okay, so now we'll substitute what and all the terms are there. So we'll just substitute. So that is displacement x is equals to, okay, so what we have, half into so base into height, that is AD is there. So AD is nothing but equal to T, hope you agree. This whole length A to D is nothing but equal to O to C, which is nothing but equal to the time duration T. So AD I can put it as half into T, okay, and then we have B to D is there. So B to D is V minus U. Here we have the value. B to D is V minus U plus the area of the rectangle, that is AD and DC is there. So AD is again, I can just write it as time T, and DC is here. This is C, this is D. So D to C is nothing but equal to O to this point A, which is nothing but equal to initial velocity U. So I can write T into U, correct, or we'll just rearrange. Okay, so what we will get, I'll write this term first. T into U is U into T. So x is equals to ut plus half into V minus U into T. I just have rearranged. So now this V minus U can be substituted as what? V minus U is nothing but A into T, correct? So V minus U is nothing but A into T. So I'll just put that x is equals to ut plus half AT into T, or this is just going to give us x is equals to ut plus half AT square. Okay, so this is what is the required equation. X is equals to ut plus half AT square. Okay, so this is how we do by graphical method. Okay, so for 5 marks every step should be written. You are not supposed to skip anything. Initial description and the proper labeling of the graph is very important. Okay, so whatever a few sentence, while explaining I have told you, that sentence can be fully written like a sentence wise. Okay, you can say that let the initial velocity be U, final velocity be V, the time duration be T, like that. Okay, so for 5 marks you have to write everything properly. Okay, so any doubt you can just ask here in the chat box. I think I don't see any doubts as of now. Hope it is clear. So I think we can just go ahead to our next 5 mark question. So from here we will be doing the problems. Okay, we will be completely taking up the problems which are essentially focusing for 5 mark numericals. Okay, which comes in the last main of your test paper. So 5 mark numericals. Okay, so here we are with the first 5 mark question. Numerical problem. A player throws a ball vertically upwards with a speed of 29.4 meter per second. Calculate maximum height attained by the ball, time taken by the ball to reach the highest point. Okay, so there are two quantities is been asked. So we have to find out what is the maximum height attained by the ball and the time taken by the ball to reach that highest point. Okay, so what they had given to us, it is mentioned clearly, the ball is vertically thrown upwards. Okay, vertically upward means it is a one-dimensional problem, because now you may don't confuse, because I am discussing this question in 1D chapter. But when you take whole syllabus, they can ask a question from motion in 2D, they can ask a question from motion in 1 dimension. So if at all there is a word like vertically thrown upwards or vertically upwards, so that means it's a one-dimensional case, like where you just throw up and the ball is completely under under the effect of gravity. Okay, so that point should come to your mind. It's not a 2D problem, it should be a 1D problem. That first you have to identify. Okay, and initial speed ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ 29.4 meter per second ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. Okay, so that is, I can say, u is equals to 29.4 meter per second. Okay, hope it is clear. So only one data is given. What and all we are supposed to find out? Maximum height reached, h, let us say, and then time taken, how much time it takes to reach that maximum height. So let us say, let us try to have a simple diagrammatic representation. So we are throwing a ball vertically upwards with u is equals to 29.4 meter per second, and it reaches this height. Okay, this corresponds to h. Okay, at this maximum height, what we can make out, so we know that at this height final velocity will be 0. That point you can note down, that is very essential. And also we will be having g acting downward with a magnitude of 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, so first we have initial velocity, I know. Final velocity indirectly I know, because at maximum height final velocity is 0. So I can say v is equals to 0 also I know. Now I want h. Okay, time is right now I don't know. So if I want to find out h, I should use the relation between v, u, h, and also acceleration due to gravity, correct? So a is equals to minus 9.8 meter per second square, I can say. Okay, so this is what we are supposed to consider. So let me just, for now, yeah, I can just try to write here. Acceleration here is minus j I will take, because acting downward. Okay, so which equation we can consider? So that should be most of the students' question. So you should check with the given data and then you have to decide. Okay, what is given to me, what I am supposed to find out. Okay, which formula will relate the given data, that if you identify, you can clearly solve all the problems. Most of the students' question is that only. So they will be asking, why only this formula? How do we get to know which formula to be used? It just depends on collecting the data and connecting them. Okay, which formula will connect all this data to the required quantity, that you have to check. Okay, so here what I will do, v square is equals to u square plus 2as I will take. Okay, I can choose this because here I know v, I know u, I know a, and this s is nothing but h, correct? So I'll just put that s as h now. Okay, so that is the reason I'm choosing 2ah, I will say. Okay, so only one unknown, one equation, I can solve this easily. Okay, so now our next job is to put the sign convention. So velocity at the highest point is 0, so I can just put it as 0 square. U square is there, so that is like 29.4 whole square plus 2 into, so here a means minus j I have to take, that is minus 9.8. Okay, because the acceleration due to gravity is acting downward. So downward is always negative and upward is always positive. That is how the sign convention I'm taking. Okay, so it's like the normal coordinate system I'm choosing. So this is positive, this is negative, and along the vertical direction this is positive, this is negative. Okay, and I already told you that how to consider the displacement, the sign convention for the displacement. If final position is above the initial position, take that as a positive displacement. If final position is below the initial position, so take that as negative displacement. Okay, so that is the sign convention we'll be using into h, which we are supposed to find out, or this is going to give me h is equals to, okay, let me just write in detail. So what I'll do is, so I can say like 2 into minus 9.8 into h will be equal to 29.4 into 29.4, or this will give you h, okay, this will become plus because one I am shifting on the other side. Okay, so plus 9.8 you will have, sorry for that. So what we are going to get, h is equals to 29.4 into 29.4 divided by 2 into 9.8. So that is like 19.6. Correct? Yeah. So now your job is to simplify this whole thing and tell me. Let me also check with the calculator, and if you're watching, you can also try it and tell me the answer, how much you're going to get. So 44.1 we are going to get with the unit you had to write. Okay, so that is 44.1 meters will be the height. Okay, what is the height, the maximum height the ball has reached? It is 44.1 meters. Okay, so if some of you have tried, you can answer to me in the chat box whether you have got it or not. If you are there, you can respond. So I'm just waiting for your response. I hope and I believe that you have tried this out. Okay, so I hope you tried it and you got the same answer as this. So now there's one more point we are supposed to find out, that is the time. Okay, so how can we find out time? So it's again very simple. I can connect V is equals to U plus AT formula. Again here V is 0. U value is given as 29.4. Okay, 29.4 plus A means minus G, that is minus 9.8 into T. Only T is the unknown here. So what we will get? So I get something like T is equals to 29.4 by 9.8. I think we are going to get as 3 seconds. Let me just check it. Yeah, it's going to be 3 seconds. Okay, so if at all, if you have tried it, so they have asked you two quantities. One is the height reached, which is 44.1 meter, we got it, and the time taken to reach that height, that is 3 seconds. Okay, so both the quantities you are supposed to write with the unit, then only you are going to get the full marks. Hope it is clear. Any doubts, please ask. If not, we can just move ahead to next question. A body let fall from the top of a tower covers 45 meters in the last second of its fall. Find the height of the tower. G is equals to 10 meter per second square. So here what I will do is I'll just give you one more formula. Okay, so which we'll be using. Okay, that is, here they're not asking you to find out the total distance traveled or distance traveled in some second. What they had given, 45 meter in the last second, that is corresponding to some particular second, how much is the distance covered? We call that as distance covered in nth second. Okay, so what we can say, distance covered in nth second. Okay, distance covered in nth second formula I am going to give you. So here let us say, there is some n seconds. Okay, and let me say n minus 1 second, or I can say like n minus 1 second and n second, let us say. Yeah, so n minus 1 second and n second. Okay, so this is like the distance traveled in nth second means what is the distance traveled between that n minus 1 second to n second. It is like, we will be having formula like the distance traveled in 5th second, the distance traveled till 6th second. So now that 6th second, how much distance it is traveled. Okay, so that can be our point of interest here. So if I want to write down the distance traveled in n minus 1 second, how do I write? First, I'll consider the distance travel formula. That is S is equals to ut plus half at square. I'll consider. So I'm just choosing with the normal sign convention. When the problem comes, we'll put the sign convention as required. Okay. So now what I'll do is, to find out the distance traveled in n minus 1 second, I'll put t is equals to n minus 1. Okay. So I'll say like Sn minus 1. So what I'm going to get? So u into n minus 1 plus half into a into t square is there. T square means n minus 1 whole square. Okay. Similarly, to find out the distance traveled in n seconds, how much is the distance traveled in n second if I want, what do? I'll put t is equals to n. So the distance traveled in n second, okay, it's like the total distance traveled in 10 seconds will be equal to what? U into n plus half into a into n square. Okay, so now the distance traveled in nth second means Snth is the usual notation we use, which will be Sn minus 1. Okay, Sn minus Sn minus 1. So you can just substitute everything here. So it is like un plus half an square, that is our Sn value, minus u into n minus 1 plus half into n minus 1 whole square. Okay, so idana simplify madadre we get the required formula, which is like u plus a by 2 into 2n minus 1. Okay, just simplify, open this bracket here, you get something like un plus u kind of a term. So this minus un and here 1 un is there, that will cancel out. Again here n minus 1 whole square term is there, so that also you can expand like n square plus 1 minus 2n. Okay, so expand that and cancel with the remaining terms. So what else will be left out? We get something like u plus a by 2 into 2n minus 1. Is that fine? So hope you are following. Any doubt till here? So this is one formula which we usually say like distance traveled in nth second. Okay, so distance traveled in nth second means we had to consider this formula. Okay, so any doubts? Okay, I guess. Yes, Neelam. Hope you're following. Hope you are trying to do the problems as well. So with this formula, we can take up this particular question. Okay. So ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? So ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ 45 ಮೀಟರ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ, that is in the last second. ಅಂದ್ರೆ distance traveled in nth second ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ 45 meter. So that is the difference you have to understand. Distance traveled in, I'll choose something like 10 seconds just to give you an example. Distance traveled in 10 second is different. Distance traveled in 10th second is different. Okay, so that is what is here. So we are talking about something like distance traveled in 10th second. Okay, find the height of the tower and G value avare kottidare 10 meter per second square. ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ. If they don't give you, in all your board problems you have to take it as 9.8. Okay, if they mention as 10, fine, take it as 10. If they don't mention, you are supposed to take G as 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, so that is one important thing. But in competitive problems, most of the time you can take G as 10, no problem there. Okay, yeah. So we are supposed to find out the height of the tower. Okay, so what we will do, so we'll use this ascent is equals to u plus a by 2 into 2n minus 1 we can use. Okay, so s nth is equals to u plus a by 2 into 2n minus 1, let us say. So here there's one more important fact, that is let fall from month. This is also important. I forgot to tell you this. So there, let fall, free fall, dropped, if those words are there, you are supposed to take initial speed as 0. Okay, so ಏನು ತಗೋಬೇಕು, initial speed 0 ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಯಾವಾಗ, if there is a word like let fall from the height, it is just dropped. Okay, free fall or other, I mean not free fall, so dropped, fall from the top of the tower, something like that. If it is there, you had to take initial speed as 0. Okay, hope that is clear. Any doubts? I think my video is also fine. Yeah, so here now what we will do, ascent is given to us, that is 45 meter is equals to, so this u goes to 0. Okay, so here a means what we had to take, it is minus 10. Okay, because we are having g as acceleration due to gravity, magnitudinal wise 10, but I have already told you g is always acting downward, and according to the sign convention I am following, I will take it as negative. And also here there's one more thing, here also we have to take minus, because when we let us say the ball is dropped from this point, so what happens, so this is my initial position, this is my final position, so the displacement is in the in the downward direction, or it is like initial position is above the final position, so illenagatte our displacement is negative. Okay, so minus 45 is equals to minus 10 by 2 into 2n minus 1, or this is going to give you something like, here also there is a minus, here also there is a minus, so that will go away. What we get, 45 by 5 is equals to 2n minus 1, or this is going to give you 2n is equals to, so this is like 5 ones are 5 nines are, and here is 1 minus 1, if it goes to other side we get 10, or we get n is equals to 5 seconds. So that here n means time. Okay, if you are not comfortable with the n notation, you can just rewrite this formula as u plus a by 2 into 2t minus 1 also you can use. Okay, so the total time duration we got. Now what is our job? Our job is to find out the height of the tower. Okay, so that for that we can use x is equals to ut plus half at square formula. So what I will do, so I got the time, and now I can say that the height, okay, I'll just write down the formula first, x is equals to ut plus half at square. Okay, but illi x andre the height of the tower, and our initial speed was 0, so this term goes to 0, half gt square I can say. Okay, so if we just put the values, h is equals to half into g andre 10 anta kottidare, t square andre, so time is 5, so 5 square. Okay, so this is going to give you height as 125 meter. This is like 5 ones are 5, 2s are, sorry, 2 ones are 2 5s are, I'm sorry. Yeah, then it is like 5 into 5 into 5. Okay, so this is how you do. Yeah, is it fine? Any doubts? Yeah. So I'm just waiting for some of your response. If you are working out the numericals. Please respond in the chat box. No, it helps me in going ahead, whether you're following or not. It's a simple one. Okay, so my idea is that you should be familiar with this new formula which I gave you. Yeah, S is equals to U plus A by 2 into 2n minus 1. Again, you had to put all the sign convention when the problem comes. Okay, it's with the general sign convention I have considered the formula. So you had to consider the direction of acceleration, the sign convention for acceleration as well as for the displacement and initial velocity. Okay, and for sign convention I have already told you the simple coordinate notation you follow, it becomes easier. Okay, and apart from that, one more point you have to remember with respect to the displacement. Okay, so that sign convention also I repeatedly told you, so please follow those sign convention, it becomes easy for you to solve the problems. Okay, any doubt? I think no doubts here. We can go ahead to our next problem. Yeah, so here it is, a ball thrown vertically upwards. Again, what is the word there? Vertically upwards anta ಇದೆ, reaches the balcony of a house 100-meter high. Okay, at the same time another ball B is dropped from rest from the balcony of the house. When and where will the two balls pass each other? Take G as 10 meter per second square. Okay, so this is one repeated kind of a question which can be asked. So I can say, compared to all other numericals, this is even very specific one which you can focus more. It's one interesting question what they are saying. So a ball is thrown vertically upward, okay, reaches the balcony of a house 100-meter high. Okay, let us try to have a simple diagrammatic representation. So from here we are throwing a ball A that is given. So let me say this is ball A. Okay, it is thrown from the ground, reaches the balcony. So let us say this is the balcony of some house which is at a height of 100 meter. Okay, this is at a height of 100 meter. At the same time another ball B is dropped. So from here we are dropping B. Again ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ವರ್ಡ್ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, so that is very important. So for this, initial velocity of the ball B is 0. That is very important. Okay, if you see the word like dropped, let fall, so that means initial velocity is 0. But illi now throwing upward irodu, so UA is not 0. Don't get confused. Okay, UB is 0. Okay, so now, so this ball B has a downward journey whereas this ball A has a upward journey. So at some point of time they meet, like it may be at somewhere here, let us say they meet. Okay, when the ball A comes here, the ball B also reaches this point, like that. That is what is meant to be. When and where will the two balls pass each other? Okay, so that is the whole idea here. So enagide, at some point they are meeting. So we are supposed to find out at what point and at what time. When and where. When means at what time, where means at what distance or position from the ground. Okay, so I'll just say like position, but we'll be considering our displacement equation and then we'll be going ahead where the two balls pass each other. Okay, so let me say at this point P, I have called this point as P, where the two balls are meeting. So let us say this corresponds to some displacement x. Okay, so from the ground, it is that point P is at a distance of x, and what happens from this top point, then the point P will be at what distance from the balcony then? Can someone respond in the chat box? Anybody? If you're following, kindly do respond. So it gives me an idea that you're following and you're understanding. ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ ಯಾರಾದರೂ? From the balcony, at what distance this point P is there? It's a very simple question. I think some of you are watching. I can get one simple response at least. Anybody? So the total distance from ground, this is our ground, this is our balcony, correct? So ground to balcony height kottidare 100 meter. Point P is at a distance of x from the ground andre. So from balcony, what will be this distance? This is 100 minus x. Okay, so balcony to P will be 100 minus x. Hope you got it. Give me a response in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so this is how we consider, the displacements with respect to the two given balls A and B. Okay, so one is thrown from ground, the other is dropped from the balcony. Okay, so now our job is to find out what is this x and what is the corresponding time where they meet. So for that, first what we will do is we will consider only ball A, because I don't know what is its initial velocity. So I'll try to find out that first. Okay, so how can we do that? Height is there. Okay, yeah, at this height or the balcony, the velocity of ball A becomes 0. Hope you agree, because that is the maximum height it is reaching, correct? So when when a person is throwing that ball, it is reaching a height equal to 100 meter, which is nothing but the balcony of that house. So there its velocity is becoming 0. Final velocity we assume as 0 for ball A. Okay, so for ball A, so ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, final velocity is 0, initial velocity I am supposed to find out, and its displacement, let me take it as h, is equals to 100 meter. Here for ball A it is a positive displacement, correct? Because this is initial position, this is final position, correct? So for ball A, this is final position, this is initial position. So ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, in the upward direction or final position is above the initial position ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ h ನ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೋಬಹುದು. Okay, so now next what we will do, we will consider this v square is equals to u square plus 2as. Again there is gravity, we are not supposed to forget, and it is always acting downward, so I'll always take it negative as it is acting downward. So again ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, if we substitute v square ಅಂದ್ರೆ 0 square, u square ಇಲ್ಲಿ ua ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. So which we are supposed to find out, ua square minus 2 into 9.8 into h ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. This s is nothing but h, correct? So that is 100 meter. Okay, so replace s by h. So illi negative sign bardidini because acceleration due to gravity is downward. I am repeatedly telling you why it comes as such. So ua square is equals to 2 into 9.8 into 100 agide. Or okay, here g 10 kottidare, so we can take 10, I am so sorry. So what we will do, we will take g as 10 itself. So problem solve ಮಾಡೋದು easy ಆಯ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ, correct? So g is 10. Okay, I'll just rewrite whole thing. So ಏನಿದೆ, ua square is equals to 2 or 20 into 100 kind of a thing, or we want ua. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ root of 20 into 100. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ square root of 100 is 10, correct? So 10 root 20 ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬೋದು, or 20 can be written as 10 into root of 20 ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರಿಬೋದು, 5 into 4, correct? So again this 4 is a perfect, it has a perfect square root, like 2 I can take out. So that 2 into 10 will give me 20. So ua will be 20 root 5 meters per second. Okay, so what we just got is the initial speed with which the ball A is thrown, that is 20 into root 5 meter per second. Hope you're following. Yeah, ua is 20 into root 5 meters per second. Okay, so I just had written all these steps in detail, but once you're familiar with your calculation, you can just skip all those steps. From here only directly you will get. Okay, ua square is 20 into 100 means ua will be 10 root 20, which is nothing but 20 root 5. You can also use your calculator, no problem. Okay, so one thing we got, but anyway, this was not our whole idea. Our idea is to find out what is this x and time. So now what I will do is, for that particular time t, okay, so let us say at some time t, after one ball is thrown up and the other ball is dropped down simultaneously, after time t they are reaching this point p, or they are crossing each other. So what I am assuming, after a time t they are crossing each other at the point p. So ಆ ಎರಡು ಕೇಸಿಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಬರೀತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಣ? ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎ. ಸೊ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬರಿಬೋದು? ಫಾರ್ ಎ, so x is equals to ut plus half at square ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, okay, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ x will be x only, u ಅಂದ್ರೆ ua ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so ua into t plus, or I can just say like minus half g into t square ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬೋದು. Okay, hope you agree with me. I have replaced a by minus g. Okay, and u is our ua. Similarly, for b ಏನು ಬರಿಬೋದು? For the ball b, again if you consider, I'll just say like x dash, let us put, because that is not x, so you may get confused later. So x dash is equals to ut plus half at square ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ball b ಗೆ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ub is 0 and this x dash, in that particular time, how much is the distance traveled? That is equals to 100 minus x. Correct? So ಅದೇ time ಅಲ್ಲಿ ball b ಎಷ್ಟು distance travel ಆಗಿದೆ? 100 minus x ಅಷ್ಟು distance travel ಆಗಿದೆ. So ಏನು ಬರಿಬೋದು? x dash will be equal to 100 minus x. Okay, so this is what we should know. Okay, so illi ub will be 0, that is, it is just dropped from the balcony. Okay, so again acceleration due to gravity is minus g. So ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ? So we get 100 minus x. Okay, 100 minus x will be equal to, so this whole term goes to 0. Hope you agree, because ub is 0. Okay, 0 into anything is 0, is equals to half gt square ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Half g into t square. Again, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು point I'll just repeat here. So ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? For ball b, okay, let me just write here. So for ball b, if I just consider, which is just dropped, okay, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? Its initial position is this, final position is this, correct? So ಆಗ ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, and ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಸೈನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ because of minus g, correct? So g is acting downward, so negative. Okay, but I'm leaving that because illu negative ಇದೆ, that will just go away. Okay, so most of the time where we get both negatives, and I'll just directly write it as 100 minus x is equals to half gt square. So you should not get confused, like here I'm not taking g as minus or something. Please observe. Okay, so if both the sides negative is there, you can just drop it, right? That just cancels out. Okay, hope that is fine. So as I just have written it, I'll keep that here. So ಏನು equation ಬಂದಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ? 100 minus x is equals to half gt square ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದೆ. So next ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ? ಈ half gt square ನ 100 minus x ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ substitute ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ? So I'll call this as equation 1, or let us say this is my equation 1 and this is our equation 2. Okay, from 2, okay, from 2 ಏನು ಬರಿಬೋದು? x is equals to ua into t minus half gt square ಬದಲು 100 minus x ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬೋದು. Okay, is that fine? Yes? Okay, so next what we can do is, yeah, so we'll just substitute the data. Okay, what and all terms are there, we'll just substitute. So x is equals to ua value ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, that is 20 root 5 ಬಂದಿದೆ. Okay, into t ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, I'll keep as it is, minus 100 plus x. So illéನಾಗತ್ತೆ, so this x and this x will cancel out, because if you take it on the other side, minus x ಆಗತ್ತೆ, so that will cancel out with the plus x. So remaining term ಏನು ಉಳಿತು ನಮಗೆ, 20 root 5 into t is equals to 100 ಬಂತು. Okay, or t is equals to 100 by 20 root 5, or this is like 5 by root 5, but 5 again ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರಿಬೋದು, root 5 into root 5 ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬೋದು, whole divided by root 5 ಇದೆ. So again ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು, this root 5 with 1 root 5 cancel ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, so we just get t is equals to root 5 seconds ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, t is equals to root 5 seconds. Okay, so this is how we solve for time. Okay, so ಎರಡು unknown ಇದೆ, ಎರಡು equation ಬಂದಿದೆ, so somehow you can eliminate one, you get one unknown, and then you have to substitute back, and then you will find the other unknown. That is the method. Okay, so ಏನಿಲ್ಲಿ x ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, t ನೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ, but u ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ already. Okay, so two unknowns ಇದೆ, two equations, that is equation 1 ಇದೆ, equation 2 ಇದೆ. Eliminate either x or either t, that's your choice. Okay, you can eliminate time or you can eliminate x in the first step, find the other one and then substitute back. Now what I will do, I got t as root 5 second, I'll put it in equation 2. Okay, so what do I do, I'll substitute, put t is equals to root 5 second in equation 2. So ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ, 100 minus x, okay, is equals to half g andre 10. Okay, g is 10, t square andre root 5 square ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, or this is like 2 1s are 2 5s are, so root 5 into root 5 will give you 5. Okay, so 5 into 5 is 25, or x will be equal to 100 minus 25, which is nothing but equal to 75 meter. So you know, x is equals to 75 meter. That means at a distance of 75 meter from the ground, okay, the two balls are passing each other. Okay, so this point p anta mark madidinalla, because ಇಲ್ಲಿ x andre ಏನು, this is from the ground we have measured, right? This is from ground. Okay, so at a distance of 75 meter, so I can say from ground, 75 meter from ground, two balls A and B pass each other. Okay, 75 meter from the ground anta mention ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So from, if in the question if they would have mentioned like at what distance from the balcony, then what you should do, 100 minus 75 ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ x 75 ಮೀಟರ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, 25 ಮೀಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಲೇಬೇಕು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಟು ಬಾಲ್ಕನಿ 100 ಮೀಟರ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ದ ಅದರ್ part must be 25 centimeter. That's how you should do. Okay, so we got the distance, that is where, at what position, we got it as 75 meter, and time andre root 5 seconds. Okay, hope it is clear. So I think I just have explained it in very detail with each and every step. Any doubt is there, please ask in the chat box. I'm not getting any doubts or responses in the chat box. I hope, as this is a numerical discussion, I thought there will be much interactions or doubts will be raised in the chat box, but I didn't find as such. Hope it is clear. So what I should assume now, whether it is 100% clear or nothing is is in a way that you understood it. Can someone respond? Any doubts? So this can be a probable 5 marks numerical. Okay. Yeah. Anything you want to ask? Or shall we just go ahead by assuming that you got everything here? I'll choose doing a optimistic. So I'll assume that you understood everything in this. So moving on to next question. Yeah. So this is slightly different one, a graph based. Okay. So 1 second. Yeah. So from the velocity time graph given below, calculate the distance traveled during the time interval 2 seconds to 6 seconds. Okay, 2 seconds in the 6 seconds ali calculate what is the amount of distance traveled anta kelidare between the time interval of 2 to 6 seconds. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಟೈಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಆಸ್ ಯೂಶುವಲ್ ಅವರ್ ವಿ ಟಿ ಗ್ರಾಫ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಐ ಕಾಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಸ್ 0, ಫ್ರಮ್ 0 to 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ವೆರಾಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ 5 to 10 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ರಿಟಾರ್ಡೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಆರ್ ಡಿಸೆಲರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ರಿಟಾರ್ಡೆಡ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಇದೆ. Okay, or negative acceleration ಇದೆ. And if you observe, it is going to have a same slope with a negative sign, correct? Because 0 to 5 seconds ಅಲ್ಲಿ 0 ಇಂದ 12 ಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅದೇ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 5 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 12 ಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಇಂದ 0 ಆಗಿದೆ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರೇಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಟಾರ್ಡೇಷನ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಟ್ಯೂಡ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ದರ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ reverse. That means one is plus a, the other is minus a, equal and opposite irutte. So that you should get by looking into this graph. That will be the first point. Okay, yeah. So what we will do is, first we'll try to find out the acceleration. Okay, and then we will try to find out, by that we will definitely get what is the retardation value as well. And here we had to find out the distance traveled in 2 to 6 seconds anta ide. So 2 to 6 seconds madhye iruva area find out ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. area under VT graph. So ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ತಲೆಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಏನು ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾ, we are supposed to find the area under VT graph. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಲೈಟ್ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಕೇಟೆಡ್ ಇದು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ 2 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, 6 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರೇಷನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ. ಸೊ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರೇಷನ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ನೋ ದಿ ಟೈಮ್, ವಿ ನೋ ದಿ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್, ವಿ ನೋ ದಿ ಫೈನಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್, ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ದ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಟ್ ಅದರ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಐಡಿಯಾ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏರಿಯಾ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಏರಿಯಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಸಮ್ವೇರ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಆಸ್ 2 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. Okay, so we'll just mark this point as 2 seconds, and let me say 6 seconds alva, illi 6 second anta ankolona ee point. Okay, so ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, once you get their corresponding velocity at 2 second and at 6 second, next ಕೆಲಸ ಈಸಿ. ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, we just need to find out area of this, this whole thing and area of this trapezium. Okay, so ಎರಡು area find out ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, A1 and A2. So A1 corresponds to the area between 2 seconds to 5 second VT graph where accelerated motion is there, and then 5 second to 6 second ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆ 1 second ಡ್ಯೂರೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಡಿಆಕ್ಸಿಲರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಸೊ ಆ ಗ್ರಾಫಿನ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇರುವ ಏರಿಯಾವನ್ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Okay, so that is our job. Okay, so area find out ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ corresponding velocity ಬೇಕು, as I told, at this 2 second and at that 6 seconds. So that is our job. Okay, so for that first we'll try to find out the acceleration. So acceleration heng find out ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. Okay, so let me mark this as a1, this as a2. So a1 and heng ಬರಿಬೋದು. So v minus u by t minus 0 ಅಂತ ಬರಿತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ v ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫೈನಲ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ 12 ಅಂತಿದೆ. ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಏನಿದೆ 0 ಇದೆ. ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ 0. ಓಕೆ, 12 minus 0 by t. ಸೊ ಇದು 12 ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದೆ? It is 12 at 5 seconds. So 5 minus 0. It is like 12 by 5, which is like 2.4 meter per second square. Okay, so acceleration is to 2.4 meter per second square. In the same way, ಇಲ್ಲಿ again uniform retardation ಇದೆ, magnitude same ಬರುತ್ತೆ, which you can check here. a2 is equals to ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರಿತೀವಿ? So ಅಲ್ಲಿ initial velocity ಏನು? So what I'll do is I'll just redraw the graph here. Too many quantities ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So this is something like this. Okay, whatever is essential I'll mark here. Okay, so ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ v t and this is given to be 5 seconds. Now we are interested what is the velocity at 2 seconds and what is the velocity at 6 seconds. Okay, so for the retardation, so e velocity ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, this is like 12. Okay, so ಈಗೇನು, yeah, this is 10, this much is given. So for retardation, again, if I just consider, you know, this motion from here to here, so ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ 12 ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಫೈನಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ 0 ಆಗಿದೆ, ಟೈಮ್ ಡ್ಯೂರೇಷನ್ ಏನಿದೆ 10, 5 to 10 seconds, ಅಂದರೆ 10 minus 5 ತರ. ಸೊ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಬರಿಬೋದು, v minus u ಅಂದರೆ 0 minus 12 divided by corresponding time ಏನಿದೆ 10 minus 5, or this is like minus 12 by 5, which is nothing but equal to minus 2.4 meter per second square. Okay, so this is what I was trying to convey to you. Okay, so I just have got numerically also. So the point is very simple here, they are equally accelerated and equally retarded, because time duration to go from 0 to 12 meter per second and 12 meter per second to 0 velocity again same irodinda we can directly say it. Okay, so this is minus 2.4 meter per second square. Okay, so idu a2 anta ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. Okay, and acceleration part ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? Yeah, so I'm just not going to write here, but please understand the acceleration there is 2.4 meter per second square. Okay, so any doubts? If you have any doubts, please ask here, or else we can just go ahead. Okay, so next velocity, acceleration ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು, ಈಗ velocity find out ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, correct? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 seconds ಗೆ velocity ಎಷ್ಟು? So I'll take that as something like v2. Okay, I'll just write in the next page. So v2 ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಏನು ಬರ್ಬಿಡೋಣ, v is equals to u plus at ನಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ v2 ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, yeah, v2 is equals to u plus a1 into t ಅಂತ ಬರಿಬೋದಾ, or v2 is equals to u 0 ಇದೆ, initial speed 0 ಇದೆ. So please note down, for this accelerated motion u is 0. Okay, so u 0 plus a1 ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂದಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ 2.4 ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, yeah, 12 by 5, that is 2.4. Okay, into t ಎಷ್ಟು ನನಗೆ t, this is 0, from 0 to 2 second is the time duration, so I'll make it as 2. So this is something like 4.8 meter per second agutte. Hope you agree. Yeah, velocity at 2 second in baratte 4.8 meters per second agutte. So this point I got. This is 4.8. Okay, so next to e velocity find out ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ velocity at 6 seconds. ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಏನ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು, 12 ಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ರಿಟಾರ್ಡೆಡ್ ರೀಜನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮೋಷನ್, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ರಿಟಾರ್ಡೆಡ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಅನದರ್ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮೋಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗಿರೋ ಟೈಮ್ ಡ್ಯೂರೇಷನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು, 1 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಈಗ. ಓಕೆ, so on the other hand for retardation anta baritini. Okay, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ retardation ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, so initial speed I'll take it as u only with our usual notation. u should be 12 meter per second, that is very important. And time duration ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 1 second, because retarded motion start ಆಗಿರೋದೇ 5 second ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So 5 to 6 second ಮಧ್ಯದ ಆ 1 seconds ಅಲ್ಲಿ what is the final velocity. Okay, at the end of 6 seconds what is the velocity ಅಂತ find out ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. at 5 second ನಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ 12 meter per second ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಆ 1 second ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಸೇ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ v ಡ್ಯಾಶ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೋತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಗೇನ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ, v is equals to u plus 18 ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಸೊ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, 12 meter per second. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರೇಷನ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮೈನಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ದೆನ್ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್. ಸೊ ರಿಟಾರ್ಡೆಡ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಸೊ ವಿ ಡ್ಯಾಶ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ಸ್ ಟು ಯು ಮೈನಸ್ 1 second, it is stuck in there. Yeah, u minus okay, v dash is equals to u minus a2, 1 second, it is not working right now. Okay, so v dash is equals to, so u plus a2 into t if I take. Okay, I'll substitute ಮಾಡೋಣ. So v dash I am supposed to find out, u ಅಂದ್ರೆ 12 meter per second, a2 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಸೈನ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೈನಸ್ 2.4 ಇಂಟು ಟೈಮ್ ಎಷ್ಟು, ಇದು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ 1 second. ಓಕೆ, 2.4 into 1. Okay, so 12 minus 2.4. Okay, this is going to give you 9.6 meter per second. Okay, let me just check once. Yeah, 9.6 meter per second. So ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿನೂ ಸಿಕ್ತು. ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಿನ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂದಿದೆ, 9.6 meter per second. Okay, so ಈಗ ಸಿಂಪಲ್, we are just supposed to find out the area. So area ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, I'll just mark it. So this particular region as A1 from 2 to 5 second. Okay, so ಆ region ನ A1 ಅಂತ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. Okay, so next ಇನ್ನೊಂದು region, let me just mark with this color. I'll mark this whole thing as A2. Okay, so if you want we can just put the coordinates also. Okay, let me try to write coordinates like A. E point na B anta tagolona. This is C, this is D, this is E and F. Okay, so first A1, area A1 ಏನು, A, B, C, F trapezium area, correct? Area, or we say area A1. So let me write here, area A1 is equals to area of AB ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ABCF. ABCF, that is the trapezium area. So A1 will be equal to half into sum of the parallel sides. ಇಲ್ಲಿ parallel sides ಅಂದ್ರೆ AB plus FC ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, AB plus FC. Okay, sum of the parallel sides into the perpendicular distance. So perpendicular distance ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ length, which is nothing but equal to AF ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. Okay, ಅದು ಟೈಮ್ ಇಂಟರ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. A1 is equals to half into, so AB ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, A to B is 4.8 meter per second plus FC ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, so this height F to C is 12 into AF, so time duration ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ 5 minus 2, that is 3 seconds. Okay, so this is going to give you A1 is equals to half into 16.8 into 3, or this is like 2 ones are 2 8s are into 4. So 8.4 into 3, which is going to give you 25.2 meters agate. I'll just cross check once. Yeah, 25.2 meters is the area under A1 value, that is BCFA trapezium area. Okay, similarly ಇನ್ನೊಂದು area find out ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. I'll try to write here itself, hope you can follow. That is area A2. Okay, so again trapezium ಇದೆ, so let us just label the trapezium. So A2 is area of, so ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ FCDE. Okay, FCDE. So ಅದನ್ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ half into sum of the parallel sides. So parallel side ಅಂದ್ರೆ FC plus DE. Okay, FC plus DE into the distance between the parallel sides ಅಂದ್ರೆ FE ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, which is the time duration. So ಈಗ substitute ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ A2 is equals to half into, so FC ಅಂದ್ರೆ F to C is 12 and ED ಅಂದ್ರೆ 9.6 ಬಂದಿದೆ. Okay, so half into 12 plus 9.6 into what else is there, 6 minus 5, which is nothing but 1. Okay, so that is 21.6 by 2. Okay, so how much we are going to get? It as 10.8 meters agat. Okay, hope this is visible to you. Yeah, it is visible. Okay, so A2 area bandide, A1 area bandide. Total displacement eno. Okay, so let me just write here now the last step. Hope this is also visible. So now last, the total distance traveled alva kelirodu, distance traveled from 2 to 6 seconds. Distance traveled, so distance traveled from 2 to 6 seconds will be equal to A1 plus A2 ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, that is 25.2 plus 10.8 ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ 36 meters ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, 36 meters. Hope it is clear. Any doubts, please feel free to ask. So this type of graph based question can also be asked in 5 marks numericals. Okay, so your job is to find out how many uniform motions are there. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಇದೆ, ಒಂದು accelerated ಇದೆ, ಒಂದು retarded motion ಇದೆ. Okay, yeah, and then distance traveled ಅಂದ್ರೆ you should know that it should be the area under VT graph. Okay, so ಆ ಏರಿಯಾ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೇನು ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಬೇಕೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. Okay, so how do you solve this problem? First you have to identify what is being asked, that is distance traveled. So distance traveled ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕು ನಮಗೆ, ಏರಿಯಾ ಅಂಡರ್ ದಿ ಗ್ರಾಫ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಏರಿಯಾ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ಯಾವ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಿಟಿ ಬೇಕು ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಐ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ದಿ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಅಟ್ ಟೂ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್. ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಟ್ 2 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಬೇಕು ಅಂಡ್ 6 ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಬೇಕು. ಅದನ್ನ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ನಂಗೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರೇಷನ್ ಬೇಕು. Okay, and acceleration heng barutte, that is from the slope of VT graph. So that is how you have to connect this problem. Okay, any doubts? Or if you understood this, you can give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Also you can like this session if it is clear to you. Yes, Emmanuel, hello, I hope you joined session late. Yes, Neeru, you also joined this session late. Anvesha, hello, good evening to all of you. So we have discussed some numerical problems. Please refer to it in this today's session if you have joined little late. Okay, and if it is clear to you, you can give me a thumbs up in the chat box, or also you can like the session. Also you can subscribe to the channel so that we can go ahead in giving more content, academic contents I mean to say. Okay, any doubts? Again, I'm not getting a response in the chat box regarding the doubts. I'll take it as a positive. I hope you understood everything in this. So I think we can go ahead to our next problem. Yeah, no doubts, right? Yeah, I think so. Okay, a body projected vertically upwards with a velocity of 15 meters per second from the top of a tower reaches the ground in 5 seconds. Find the height of the tower. Okay, we are supposed to find out the height of the tower. G value 9.8 meter per second square anta kottidare. Okay, again in note ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ವರ್ಟಿಕಲಿ ಅಪ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ 1D ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ವಿತ್ ಅ ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ 15 ಮೀಟರ್ ಪರ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಟೇಕನ್ ಆಸ್ 15 meters per second. And there is one slight difference is there. What they are saying, it is not thrown upwards from the ground, instead it is thrown upward from the top of the tower antide. This is a slight difference in this particular problem. Enagide, so let me try to have a diagrammatic representation. So let us say this is some tower. Okay, let us try to draw it neat. Okay, so this is the tower. Yeah, so ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, from this, okay, 1 second, I'll just draw a little down. Tower height na kadme ಮಾಡೋಣ. Okay, so this is the top of the tower. So from that we are throwing a ball antide, correct? Oh, okay, body is projected, okay, whatever, it might be a stone or something. So we are throwing upward, okay, with some velocity 15 meters per second. Okay, and G value ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, that is G is always acting down, so I'll take minus 9.8 meter per second square. And ಎಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದೆ to reach the ground. So ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, for this particular ball, so or this particular object, so it goes and it reaches some height here and then it comes back to ground, correct? So that's how the situation is. And for this total time, from throwing this point to reach this height and then to ground, The total time duration ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದೆಷ್ಟು 5 seconds. So from here to here, time taken is 5 seconds. Okay, if this is the situation, find the height of the tower. So we had to find out this height h. So what is the height of the tower anta kelidare. Okay, so looks complicated, but if you just consider the basic concepts of vectors and the idea of 1D motion, it becomes very easy. So illi I can clearly tell you that this height of the tower will be simply equal to the total displacement anta helbodu. If you understand this particular point, yeah, so it is, the problem becomes easier. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, for this particular ball, it started, its initial position is this, its final position is this, correct? So height is nothing but equal to the final position minus initial position ತರ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೋದು, which is the displacement. We are not talking about the distance travel. Distance travel ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, because for this body has to reach this height and then from there to the top of the tower and then to the ground. If you talk in terms of distance travel, it is a different story. But illenagide, the total height will be equal to the displacement of the body agide. So that is very important. Okay, so displacement, we are we are directly finding out the displacement andre. Now we can just directly use our one dimensional kinematic equation. Okay, initial speed ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ initial speed direction upward ಇದೆ, thrown upward, so it is positive. Hope you agree with me. Okay, g is negative. ಇಲ್ಲಿ initial position illiದೆ, final position illiದೆ, so displacement is negative. ಇದೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಬೇಕು. Sign convention. Okay, u is positive, displacement is negative, g is negative because it is also acting downward. Okay, so that is how we had to consider the sign convention. Yeah, any doubt? Any doubt? Okay, I hope it is clear with this sign convention. Okay, so let me just go ahead then. So equation ಯಾವ್ದು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೋದು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಟೈಮ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, 5 seconds ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಸಾರಿ, ಯಾ, ಸೊ ಡಿಡ್ ಐ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್, ಯಾ, ಟೈಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ಸೊ ಟೈಮ್ ಇದೆ, ವೆಲಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಲರೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಟು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ height ಅಂದ್ರೆ which particular equation we can consider. X is equals to ut plus half at square ತಗೊಳ್ಬೋದು, correct? So this x itself is the height, correct? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, x will be equal to minus h ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀನಿ, because it is like for the particular body motion, the initial position is top of the tower, final position is ground. So initial position is above the final position, andre displacement negative direction ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. So this is minus h is equals to, u is positive, hope you agree, because it is thrown vertically upwards, not dropped downwards. Downward velocity alla, upward velocity. Okay, ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, okay, let me write one more step. I'll say u, okay, we can substitute here itself. So that is plus 15 into t. T is 5 seconds, because in this total 5 seconds, the body is going up, coming to the top of the tower again, and then reaching the ground. This corresponds to the total displacement of the body. Then only I can put here t as 5. Or fractional time ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ I couldn't have taken t itself as 5. Okay, plus half, yeah, ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗತ್ತೆ, a ಅಂದ್ರೆ minus 9.8 or ಇಲ್ಲೇ minus ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಬೋದು, that is your choice. Okay, minus 9.8 into t square andre 5 square. Okay, or ಇದನ್ನ simplify ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ minus h is equals to 75 minus this is like 4.9 into 25 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, or ಇದನ್ನ further simplify ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, okay, let me just multiply 4.9 into 25. So that is 122.5. Okay. So you can also cross check later. And minus 75, if we do, we get it as 47.5. So minus h is equals to minus 47.5 meters agate, or simply h is equals to 47.5 meters. Okay, sign convention correct ಆಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ minus h ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so height of the tower is never negative, it should be always positive. Okay, so illu minus ide, which will cancel out. So the height of the tower is going to be 47.5 meters agate. Okay, so this is how you solve this particular problem. Okay, any doubts? This is the easy way of solving this problem. Okay, there is one, tedious method also you can do it, like finding out what is this displacement, and then or the splitting the time. Okay, so how much time this particular body takes to go from top of the tower to its maximum height. Okay, so that you find out, and then the remaining time, the same time it will take to reach back again the top, the remaining time it will take to come back to reach ground. So our third time enidalla adunna idkondu you can solve your kinematic equation. Okay, so that is a tedious method. This is the easiest and simple method, but here the simple point you have to understand is that the total displacement of the body in this entire process is just equal to the height of the tower. Okay, if you understand that concept, it is very easy. Okay, any doubts? Yeah, any doubts? Hope you understood. So after session you can revise the sign convention once, you can familiarize with the 3 kinematic equation plus one more equation which I gave you today, that is nth equation, the distance traveled in nth second. That is another formula which on which problems can be asked. Okay, so please make a note of 4 formulas, the basic 4 formulas along with the basic definition of velocity and acceleration. So these are all some sample questions which can be asked in your upcoming test for 5 marks. Okay, so similar to this, a number of problems can be framed. Please work out few more problems so that it will become easy for you to apply the sign convention properly. So in all these problems, sign convention is the first thing where most of the students go wrong. Okay, if you understand that, then only 4 formulas in this entire chapter, so you can just easily remember that and you can solve it. Okay, so if there are no doubts, I'll just wind the session for today. Any doubts? Okay, if there are no doubts, fine then. So if you have understood everything what we have discussed today, you can give me a like in the chat box or a like to the videos, and also you can subscribe to our channel for more such contents. Okay, thank you all. Have a good day ahead.